Shavua Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Mesechet Orlah. We are up to Perek Aleph Mishnah Chet. Today's Mishnah should be Leilun Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Aranbayev and Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov Menuchatam Began Eden. Amen. The Mishnah now discusses various other parts of the tree that do qualify as fruit. The Mishnah says An Koklot, defective grapes, which Mefarshim explain. These are grapes that became damaged and inedible before reaching a third of their ripeness. Now, though less than 1/3 ripe, they had already reached the stage of becoming a fruit and therefore were subject to Orlah, and therefore their Orlah prohibition remains even though they have since become inedible. V'achatzanim v'zagim v'temet shelaim, grape pits, grape skins, and their temed, which we said temed is the inferior wine made by soaking the grape pits or the grape skins in water. Now the temed has the same status as the pits or skins from which it was made. Klipe rimon v'anet shelo, a pomegranate's skin and its blossom, which is the crown that grows from the projection at the top of the pomegranate. Klipe gozim, nutshells, v'garinim, and the pits of a fruit. Asurim be'orlah, they are all prohibited in the case of Orlah. Now the Mefarshim explain these are not the actual fruit, but only secondary to the fruit. But nevertheless, the Torah says with regards to Orlah, et piryo, which can be translated with its fruit, and which comes to include in the Orlah prohibition even things that are secondary to the fruit. Now this diuk, this derivation is not needed for defective grapes, which were actual fruit before they became damaged. We need this diuk for these other various parts of the tree, that they should qualify as fruit. The Mishnah says asurim ba'orlah, they are prohibited in the case of Orlah, u'ba'ashera, in the case of Asherah, for any part of the Asherah tree is forbidden. U'banazir, in the case of a nazir, meaning the defective grapes, grape pits, grape skins, and their temet are forbidden to a nazir. Now these items are not normally eaten and therefore should not be included in the nazir prohibition, but nevertheless they are forbidden to a nazir because the pasuk specifically includes them when it says even the pits or skins he shall not eat. And defective grapes, we know, are no different from the pits and skins of normal grapes, and the temet they produce is also forbidden because the pasuk says anything in which grapes have been soaked he shall not drink, right? Mishrat anavim lo yishteh. Umutarin barva'i, but they are permitted without restriction in the case of reva'i. Like we explained in the previous Mishnah, reva'i is not something prohibited, but rather something that is to be eaten in Yerushalayim, and therefore it applies only to fruits that are commonly eaten and not to defective grapes, pits, or skins. And since it does not apply to these items, it does not apply to the temed made from them either. Va'novlot kulam asurot, and fruits that fall from the tree before ripening are considered normal, edible fruit, and are in all of these cases prohibited, whether in the case of Asherah, whether the entire tree is prohibited, where in that case the entire tree is prohibited, not just as fruit, or in the case of Orlah and Nazir, and they may not be eaten outside Yerushalayim if they are Reva'i. And that is in Rabotai Mishnah Chet. Mishnah Tet now continues a discussion that we learned that Orlah applies only to fruit. Rabbi Yossi says, Not'in yichul shel Orlah, one may plant the branch of an Orlah tree. Now, even though the fruit of an Orlah tree is forbidden, its branches, which are not fruit, are permitted for use, and therefore one may plant and root the branch of an Orlah tree. Ve'notin ilgol shel Orlah, but one may not plant a nut of Orlah, because while a branch is not a fruit, a nut is a fruit, and it is forbidden to benefit from the fruit of Orlah. Then makibin bechafniyot shel Orlah. Similarly, one may not graft a branch with date bud clusters of Orlah, because date bud clusters too are considered fruit. Now the Mefarshim explain a date tree produces clusters of buds which eventually develop into clusters of dates. Rabbi Yossi follows his opinion in Mishnah Zayin that the buds of Orlah are considered a fruit and are forbidden, and therefore he rules here that one may not take a branch with date bud clusters from an Orlah tree and graft that branch onto another date tree. Now, although the branch itself is permitted, the clusters on it are already forbidden as Orlah fruits, and therefore Rabbi Yossi forbids the grafting out of concern that one will come to eat those forbidden fruits. And the Rav says, the halacha does not follow him in the case of the chafniyot, about not grafting a branch with date bud clusters. Rather, the halacha is that it is allowed in that case. And halacha kimoto dimutar lita yichul shel Orlah. The halacha does follow him that one is allowed to plant the branch of an Orlah tree. So the halacha follows him in the Reisha that one may plant the branch of an Orlah tree, but the halacha does not follow him in the Sifa that la halacha one may graft a branch with date bud clusters of Orlah, unlike what Rabbi Yossi says that he prohibits it. That is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Shavua Tov. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.